about fathers for a minute, if you could. Uh, give us a bit of the details of what is a father's role in terms of the connection with the child and what a father teaches a child, but also in relationship with the mother.
So fathers are critical to children's development in a different way. When we talk about mothers, it doesn't mean that fathers aren't important. So as I said, fathers' behavior, nurturing behavior, is focused on separation, playfulness, exploration, um, physical play. It's all about resilience in a different way and exploration of the world and independence and separation. So we say that mothers are the objects of attachment and fathers are the objects of separation. What's happening is, in a way, fathers have been taught to feel uh, jealous of the relationship that mothers have with babies. It's really a problem, as opposed to seeing the value of their relationship, which is that when you have mothers, single mothers by choice, who have no fathers on the scene, who've gone to sperm banks and whatever, those children have terrible separation problems. They sleep with their mothers often past the point that's healthy. The mothers relate to them like a partner rather than a child. And so those children often suffer from the ability to separate, right? And so fathers serve this critical function of seducing babies away from mothers when the time is right, to explore the world and become more interdependent, right, and independent. And so, yeah, fathers serve also the role of helping to regulate other emotions that mothers don't regulate as well, like aggression. Fathers regulate aggression more than mothers. Mothers regulate distress, fear, sadness, and fathers help to regulate things like aggression and excitement.
Right, right.
And so, yeah, I mean, fathers are also really, really necessary. And when fathers aren't on the scene, when there are no fathers, children don't separate, children don't learn to regulate aggressive feelings. You find that children of single mothers without fathers often have aggression regulation issues. They tend to be more aggressive. They tend not to be able to regulate risk taking behaviors or excitement. Fathers teach that, yes, you can, you know, uh, roller skate fast or you can ski fast, but you have to be careful as well. You ski fast, but you have to do it, with an eye on self-preservation. They help to regulate that kind of excitatory behavior. That impulse regulation comes from fathers, not from mothers. So
Right.
I think fathers are critical as well. They're just not critical in the same way. So I think what's happened is this, particularly in Northern European countries, this idea of the generic nature of attachment,
Hmm.
the gender neutrality argument. It just doesn't work because we're really wired differently and we're good at different things.
Right,
Again,
right.
I use the caveat if we're healthy.
Absolutely, absolutely. A woman who's not healthy is probably not going to have that emotional attunement as much. But what you're talking about, this gender neutrality, in the language of psychology, attachment, a lot of times relationship psychology is gender neutral when really we kind of get into the same messes and there's the same patterns of, husband and wife that we don't often talk about. But in this case, the role of mother and father, I think that the fact that people don't know the differing roles, the fact that the mother is more attuned to emotions of distress and soothing those, while the father comes online a little bit later. His role at the beginning is more to create a holding environment for the mother as she creates her holding environment for the baby. But later on, as the baby grows up and starts to separate and starts to explore. The father kind of seduces the baby away from the mother into play, into rough and tumble play. Also help the child, develop an awareness of their physical capabilities, and what hurts and what's fun and how to socialize with others. And this enforcing of boundaries and the regulation of aggression, for instance, and excitement. I think that a lot of women don't realize that men do this naturally, and they need to be left alone when they're doing that too, right? A lot of mothers are are quick to kind of stop the more rough and tumble play um, because of their own fear, and if the father is kind of disciplining the child in a way that's more assertive. Sometimes, in certain relationships, mothers intervene and they don't let that happen. So I think just understanding what we're each good at, that we have different roles and we've evolved in different ways. And, within that as well, we have our individual personalities, and some men might have a softer touch. Some women might have a difficult time with emotional attunement, but overall, these are the roles, and these are the strengths that we've been given. It's better to use them instead of trying to constantly, even the playing field and equalize everything, which doesn't work, and I think just leads to a lot of frustration.
It's the idea of layering. I don't know if you know that in the old days, canvases and were expensive. So painters
Hmm.
used to paint on top of paintings. They used to, overlay different
Right.
paintings. They would paint a painting and paint another painting on top. And there are ways of actually seeing the deepest layer, using technology. You're
Oh
seeing the
wow.
first painting. And if you will, even the mothers who struggle with nurturing, feel very disconnected, may have attachment disorders. I always find that when you ask them, who is the primary attachment figure? They'll say, it's me.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the first layer of hate. You can see through to the instincts, even if the
Right.
mother has layered on top of it over the years, or life has layered defense and defense and defense. Immediately when you ask them, who is the primary attachment figure? They'll say, well, it's me, right? Even if they're not there, even if the father's there. So I think that's the way that you can see that the instincts are somewhere deeply alive in that mother, even if they're buried very deep.